Okay, in this section, we are going to learn about elasticity of demand. And elasticity of demand is a topic that relates to economics. So, in the market, when we buy things, if the price goes up, we buy less. But if the price goes down, we buy more. And by we, I mean the general population. But we want to know how much more or less. So elasticity tells us how sensitive the quantity demanded is going to change the price. Okay, so let's write that down. Elasticity is telling us that if we have big changes in price, are we going to have big changes in demand? To find elasticity, we will use the following formula. E of P equals negative P being the price, times the derivative of the demand function all over the demand function. Okay, before we get to an example, if the elasticity is less than 1, the demand is inelastic. Another way to think about that is insensitive. A small rise in price will result in an increase in total revenue. So if the price goes up, the demand will stay relatively the same. So the revenue goes up. And a good example of this is gasoline. Because for gasoline, it's a necessity and there's not really any substitute for that. So when gas goes up, the demand stays relatively the same, which means revenue will be up. Okay, if elasticity is greater than 1, then the demand is elastic. That means a small rise in price will result in a decrease in the total revenue. So the price goes up, people buy less, or they find substitutes. A good example of this would be maybe your favorite taco place, right? There's a million places to buy tacos. If one restaurant gets to be too expensive, we either buy less tacos or we go to a different place. So something that is elastic is either something that has lots of substitutes or it's a luxury item. Okay, and then when elasticity equals 1, the total revenue is maximized, and we call that unit elasticity. That was a lot of definitions, so let's do an example. Suppose that the demand for the Clicks Classic Flicks streaming service is given by Q equals D of P, so that's the demand, equals 120 minus 20P, where Q is the number of monthly subscriptions in thousands, and P is the dollars per month. So the Q will be the subscriptions, and P is the dollars per month. And the first question says to find the elasticity of demand as a function of P. Well, we already have D of P. Now we need the derivative, and this is just going to be the power rule. The derivative of 120 is 0. The derivative of negative 20p is just negative 20. And now I can put that all together and find my elasticity to be negative p times the derivative of p, which is negative 20, all over d of p. So this will be 20p over 120 minus 20p. Then I can factor out the 20, and this equals p over 6 minus p. So that's our elasticity of demand. And now it says to find the elasticity at p equals 2. So E of 2 is just going to be 2 over 6 minus 2, which is 1/2. This is less than 1, so this is inelastic. Increasing a small amount will increase total revenue. All right, E of 5 is going to be 5 over 6 minus 5. This is 5, and that's greater than 1. So this is elastic. So this means that Small increases in price will cause a decrease in quantity demanded, and this will be a decrease in total revenue. All right, the next question says to find the value of P for which E of P equals 1, and then we want the significance of this price. So I'm just going to set my E of P equation equal to 1. I'm going to multiply each side by 6 minus P, so I get P equals 6 minus P. Then I'll move that P to the other side, divide by 2, and I get P equals 3. So this is unit elasticity. At $3 per month, the company will maximize total monthly revenue. So the number of subscriptions is going to be Q equals D of 3, which is 120 minus 20 times 3, which is 60. But this is in thousands, so 60,000 subscriptions per month. And then to see the revenue, if it's $3 per month times we have 60,000 subscribers, this will be 180,000 per month. That is the first example on elasticity.